Back with more Avatar The Last Airbender. This is episode 1 of season 3 or book 3. Very excited to kick off this third and final season, which is quite sad, but we still have a long way to go yet. This is 21 episodes, I think, this season, so an extra little episode, which is nice. But yeah, this is beginning of the end for Avatar The Last Airbender, which is nuts. But you know, it has been just over a year now since we kicked this off properly, so it does feel like, okay, we're coming to the end. A third of the story to go. Things left off. I mean, it didn't go particularly well for our heroes. The Earth Kingdom's fallen. Zuko betrayed Iroh, and now he's kind of back on the side of evil. Hopefully temporarily. I think temporarily. Azula's still Azula. Aang died, I think. Pretty shot through the heart, and you're to blame. You give love a bad name, Azula. But luckily Katara had her special water thing and healed him. Or at least I think she healed him. Hopefully he'll be alright. It would be gutsy to be like, episode 1 of season 3, Aang died on the flight to wherever they're going next. But I don't think that's going to be the case. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they set up with this season, what they kind of do with this first episode. And yeah, just kind of lay the groundwork, I guess, for the final chapter of this story. But I'm very excited. This show is utterly fantastic. I've had an absolute blast reacting to it so far, and I'm sure that will be the case with this final season as well. People keep saying, you know, it gets better and better. So as much as I love season 2, I can't even imagine how much better can season 3 even possibly get. But I'm sure I'll be very pleasantly surprised, because the show always manages to do incredible stuff. So yeah, I'm excited, and let's get into the first episode. Oh, you have hair! Oh, I hate it.
What happened?
Death. Oh. Well, you've escaped a Fire Nation boat before.
Mama?
Oh.
Twinkle
Aw.
Toes, that's gotta be you!
Oh.
You're awake!
Oh, okay.
I wonder what's changed. I wonder how I've changed.
I just asked if you were cold. I
Yeah.
didn't ask for your whole life story.
Oh, my. They did have a bit of a thing, didn't they? Or at least she had a thing for him way back when.
It's an honor to meet you.
Great, great. Now you guys have finally met, so would you mind giving us a little privacy?
Of course.
Oh, dear.
Are you mad at your dad or something? What? Not at all. Why would you say that?
Subtle clues. Oh. Oh, shit. Okay.
Tell me where your pain feels most intense.
Everywhere. Is this going to be like a Slayer kind of deal from Buffy, where they've actually summoned a new avatar now? Because he technically died? Wow. Shit. Azula Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
3 long years, your prince has returned.
I mean, you do look badass, but I'd rather you didn't. Well, thank you, exposition old ladies.
The whole world thinks you're dead. Isn't that great?
I hate not being able to do anything. Hopefully you won't need to.
Sokka looks a lot like Zuko in all that armor, and like they have the same sort of hair now.
I think this is a captured ship. Just stay quiet until we're safely across the land.
Oh dear.
Hey, no!
You sunk my battleship! Oh, he's feeding the turtle ducks like he used to do with his mum.
You seem so
And she ruins everything like she always does.
The Avatar's dead. Unless you think he somehow miraculously survived. This is water from the spirit oasis.
Ah, yeah, he remembers.
There's no way he could have survived.
See, there's part of him that's still like, kind of protecting them in a way.
Then I'm sure you have nothing to worry about.
They are playing battleships.
I'm gonna give us some cover.
Man, they've all come a long way from Katara and Sokka on their little boat, finding Aang in the ice. Boat's a bit bigger now.
You're still hurt, and you have to stay secret. Just let us handle this. Fine.
Oh, God. In the long term, it's probably the best strategy.
Things couldn't get much worse. The universe just loves proving me wrong.
Oh, dear.
You make it too easy.
Oh! Wow. Now they've angered it, so... Bye!
I think I understand why being a secret bothers you so much. You don't want people to think you failed.
You're right, I don't.
Hmm.
The problem is, I did fail. I've always known that I would have to face the Fire Lord. But now I know I need to do it alone. Aang,
I mean, that's provably not true.
I need my honor back.
To go and cut to Zuko. Yes, it is! Ah! I love it when they parallel them. Ah, they both want their honour back. Mwah! I love this fucking show. Show us your face, mate.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. He's not subtle about the whole Fire Lord thing, is he? Hey! Is that the first time you've seen his face? I feel like it is.
I know the world needs him, but doesn't he know how much that we need him too? How can
Aw.
you just leave us behind?
You're talking about me too, aren't you?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Could you leave us, Dad? We were just so lost without you.
I'm so sorry, Katara.
Aww.
I understand why you left.
Every night when I went to sleep, I would lie awake missing you so much it would ache.
Aww.
I am proud of you, Prince Zuko.
Very different
Because you and your sister
father-child bond here.
you slayed the Avatar.
What did you hear?
Azula told me everything.
Oh.
She said she was amazed and impressed with your power and ferocity.
Hmm. She's still playing games, that Azula. Oh. Oh my god, it's like the start of Link's Awakening. Any Zelda reference is a yes from me. No!
I figured if I gave you the credit, you'd have nothing to worry about.
Hmm.
Call it a generous gesture. I wanted to.
Because if he turns up alive, it's still Zuko's fault, not hers.
Share the glory. What ulterior motive could I have?
Many.
Unless somehow the Avatar was actually alive. But you said yourself that was impossible. Sleep well, Zuzu.
God, I hate her so much. Oh!
But everyone thinks I'm dead again.
Inherited my problems and my mistakes.
Yeah, you just vanished.
You are destined to redeem me.
Oh!
And you'll save the world again. But you can't give up.
It's Moon Princess. Oh, they're a family.
What? Oh, it's your glider.
Oh.
That's okay. If someone saw it, it would give away my identity.
Staking his claim on the world. That would catch fire. No, there we go. Symbolism. His childhood is gone. Okay, that was a fantastic premiere. Great start to this season. I adored it. The one thing I didn't like is that we didn't see Iroh, but you know they're going to be saving some of that for later on, and they're making you wait for good old Iroh, aren't they? So you know I'm happy to kind of just wait and see when he's going to pop up again. I know he will, obviously, because there's all the thing about the new voice actor and stuff. But yeah, that was such a great start to the season. I can't wait to see where this all goes. The idea of Aang still pretending to be dead. How long is that going to last for? It's an interesting idea, and I loved the kind of ending where he burnt the remains of his glider. It was already pretty badly beaten up. Again, symbolism of Aang and his journey so far. It hasn't been kind to him. Life's beaten him down a bit, much like the waves destroyed that. And then, he himself made that choice to properly turn it to ashes and burn the rest of it. And I think the glider, to me, feels like a representation of like his childlike innocence. Because we've always seen him kind of just fly around in it, have a great time, laugh away as he's like flying and soaring through the air. It's been the basis of a lot of, his traversal, a lot of his kind of tricks, and, some of his powers and stuff have come through that. So it felt like him burning that away was like, okay, this is the end of, that childhood state of mine, I guess. Now I really need to step up. Now I need to face my responsibilities. I need to be something a bit different. I need to be someone a bit different and actually start growing up a bit. He's got hair. He's undercover, pretending that, he's someone else. So he quite literally needs to be someone else for the time being, because the world needs to think that he's dead and he's failed. And I like that he struggled with the idea that people are going to think that he's failed again. He's disappeared again. And that's why he was kind of very reluctant to, stay back and stay hidden and not get involved in things. So that was a really cool place to kind of put him in. And the idea that he feel like he's failed so much, he needs to regain his honour. And then they do the stuff with Zuko, who's trying to get his honour back. And seemingly has it restored, but Azula's obviously been doing her Azula stuff, kind of setting him up for failure, as she often does best. Because my god, she's such a good villain, but oh my god, she just is you love to hate her, don't you, really? So yeah, I thought that was another really great parallel that they did between Aang and Zuko when Aang was like, I need to find my honour, and they had like the shot of just half his face, and then I knew they were going to transition to Zuko and the other half of his face as he was getting his honour back. Oh, so good. But I've talked about the parallels between Aang and Zuko's journeys and how much I love it until the cows come home. So I won't kind of retread everything I've already said about that, probably multiple times at this point. Maybe at least until they probably cross paths again, inevitably at some point this season. But yeah, I loved what they did with Aang in this one, and kind of letting go of the Aang that came before. I felt this is going to be, very much forged in literal fire, on a bloody volcano as his glider turns to flames. He's kind of forged into maybe someone new, at least for the time being, because he needs to pretend to be dead and all of that jazz. But yeah, some great stuff with that, and I think Aang's journey this season, I mean, it's obviously going to be pivotal because it's the last season and it's about his kind of journey towards the Fire Lord. But I like that, you might think of like a fiery hot landscape. I think a lot of minds would turn to a volcano, and then he like shoves his glider in like he's staking a claim in it. He is staking the claim like, I'm going to master fire. And putting a claim in the Fire Lord's legacy, I guess. He's going to make his mark on fire and the Fire Nation. So I really like that kind of like a mission statement. He didn't even need to say anything to make that. He just shoves the remains of his glider in a volcano and watches it burn, which is pretty badass. I'm going to miss the glider, I must say. The OG glider. Literally just bought an action figure of Aang with the glider, and then he destroys it. So good timing me. But that's fine. Whatever. I'm over it. So yeah, I really liked everything with that, and him kind of feeling guilty that he's failed all over again, and having to be talked round by Katara, by Roku, and by, I think it's Yue, isn't it? The moon princessy girl. That was her. I mean, she was coming out of the moon, right? So hope when it's needed most. I quite liked that Aang did have some of those spirits kind of guiding him. And I liked what Ruko? I'm just merging character names now. I liked what Roku was saying about how, it's not your failures, you inherited my mistakes, because he kind of vanished and then Aang was in the ice and everything. Which is very, very true, not when an avatar dies, it's not necessarily always in a nice neat bow, and then the next avatar gets to start afresh. He kind of inherited a lot of these problems from Roku, because the world was kind of in disarray and Roku vanished and everything. So I thought that was a really cool thing to see Roku kind of admit that, and I think that relieves some of the burden from Aang as well. And Yue's words of wisdom for him. I like seeing him kind of get motivated again to make a stand, but also alongside that know his making of a stand, I guess, needs to kind of be in the shadows for a bit, and he needs to also take a step back at the same time. So he needs to make a stand, but that stand is backwards because people are like, oh, he's dead, so I need to stay that way. Which is, an interesting contrast in itself, and that sets up a very interesting journey, I think, for Aang this season. I can't wait to see where that goes. And since we're already talking about the parallels with Zuko and stuff, I loved seeing him return home, seeing him face the Fire Lord. Ozai, I think is the Fire Lord's name, right? Mark Hamill, icon that he used the moment, is such a recognisable voice, but again, so different from other stuff. His Mark Hamill's Joker is just always going to be in my mind because his iteration of the Joker is iconic. But I like that you can still tell it's Mark Hamill just as you can with the Joker, but it's still a very different voice. I think that's just voice actors, actors in general, they're very bloody talented, and I don't know how they do what they do. But I liked properly getting a look at Ozai. I think that was the first time I've seen his face. I think they've always hidden it before now. So I do like, I guess, some contrast with that. As Aang needs to step back into the shadows, we finally get Fire Lord Ozai out of the shadows and we actually see his face for the first time. So basically that whole family, they're just like paralleling them with Aang, I think, and contrasting them in different ways depending on the story. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get a bit more of him this season, get to know him a bit better as they build up towards this big confrontation between him and Aang. I'm assuming at the end of the season is when that will take place. But yeah, that was cool to see him, assure Zuko that he's been redeemed and stuff, because Azula lied and said he took out Aang and he killed Aang, not her. Because she has her ways, that one. She's very sneaky little snake. Kind of love her for it, really hate her for it, for sure. But yeah, I hope Azula gets her just desserts at some point this season. It will be so satisfying. Because you think, oh, I can't wait to see her face when she finds out Aang's alive. You could be like, haha, you failed. But she's kind of pre-planned for that possibility, and now has made it so that Zuko will be blamed for that, and she'd just be like, ha ha ha, just, I don't know, filing her nails in the background, being like, you suck, brother, or whatever it is she'd do. So yeah, I really like her as a villain so much. And yeah, an interesting dynamic to see continue, I think, this season, because already Zuko's like, well, shit, I definitely can't trust her, and I trusted her before, and she's already spun this against me, so this is probably a bad idea. Him facing all his people again when he was like welcomed home, he seemed a bit unsure, shrugging off the idea that Aang could still be alive. I think some of that, because we saw that he had the flashback of Katara the Water, so he knows there was a chance that Aang could still be out there, and he's not actively saying, oh no, there's a chance he still could be alive, let's properly hunt them down and make sure. He's just like, no way, he's dead. And I think some of that is maybe protection of them in a sense, maybe more so with Katara, because they are the one who actually had kind of a bonding moment in the last episode before it all went wrong, again, as it always does. But alongside that, it might be him just really wanting to forget that part of his life now, just as Aang has to leave a part of his life and his childhood behind, with him burning the glide and stuff. I think Zuko's kind of doing a similar sort of thing. But let's forget that chapter of my life. Let's move forward. I'm home now. I'm redeemed. What next? And he's going to be like, oh dear, I've been redeemed, but at what cost? And he needs to find a new set of redemption from a new set of people, I think, this time. Iroh being the key one there. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where Zuko... Why do I keep saying random names? Where Zuko's journey goes. That's why I said Zuko's journey. I'm really intrigued to see where that's going to go, and hopefully he comes to his senses fairly soon, but I'd hate it for be like it's the finale where he's like, you know what, I have been wrong all season, I will join the fight for the good guys now. So I don't want that to be like the very, very end of the season. I like to maybe see that a bit earlier. Either way, they've done such a great job with Zuko's character thus far in his arc and his journey. I'm sure that they have some great stuff planned for him in season 3. So I can't wait for more of that. Can't wait to learn more about Ozai as well and see a bit more of him in action. And Azula just being Azula. We've got a bit with May as well, I believe is the name of, I guess, Zuko's love interest-ish. She's very much still, holds a candle for him. So is that going to be reciprocated? Is that not? I'm not sure. Again, just wait and see. It's episode 1. We still have 20 episodes of the show left. Anything can happen. And then what else? I did like seeing Sokka kind of have all these strategies in place and stuff, and I thought it was interesting in a way that I think, in terms of, I mean, he was wearing the Fire Nation armor and stuff, but even his hairstyle and stuff seemed to be very similar to what Zuko's rocking at the minute, which I found quite interesting. But yeah, I liked the kind of passage of time. It's been a little while. He said Zuko again. Aang has been recovering. He's got hair now. The hair's weird, I must say. It's weird seeing Aang with the hair, but I guess it will help with the disguise somewhat. So I guess that's a new symbol of him, becoming someone new, someone else. But yeah, I like seeing Sokka with all the strategies and stuff, because he's always been quite good at that. Toph had a few badass, more metal bender moments, rather than anything kind of character based, but I'm sure there'll be time for her to get more development. And I really liked what they did with Katara in this episode as well. Her kind of being a bit angry at, I think her father's name's Hakoda. I think I wrote that down right. Forgive me if not, if I got that wrong, but I do mean, when I say that, I mean Sokka and Katara's father. I like that she was kind of a bit pissed at him, and kind of realising that, and, her struggles with Aang in this one also leaned into her struggles with Hakoda, and his feeling of abandonment, feeling like I have to go off and do it on their own, even though she may understand it, certainly from Hakoda's point of view, like she even said, I understand why you had to leave, but it's still kind of a frustrating feeling, and she didn't like that feeling of abandonment, and she's grown to care for Aang very, very much, as we've seen. So I think seeing him just hurry off on a whim, not saying goodbye, just go off on his own, thinking that he has to do it on his own, it's going to feel like, well, that's just throwing away this relationship we've had. I've taught you how to do all that water shit, you ungrateful little shit, come back here. So I liked that kind of frustration, and that kind of pent up rage she's probably had, that pent up resentment she's had for her father for being absent for a little while now. I like that she got to work through that, and even though she understood where Hakoda was coming from and he had to leave and stuff, I like that they had a little moment and they took time to, have her cry that out, make peace with it, hopefully start to move forward and recover from, that emotional devastation, I suppose. I think it makes sense that you would feel abandoned in that sense. And yeah, Aang kind of coming to his senses over, he can't do this on his own as well, he needs people around him and stuff, as has often been, the case in this show. We've kind of seen they are best when they're together as a team. They're a family at this point, really, aren't they? That moment when they're all hugging at the end. Oh, wholesome. I love them. So yeah, I liked everything they did with Katara, very much so. She sounded quite different in this episode. Was that just me? Maybe the voice actress is just a bit older, because I think it took them doesn't it take a few years for them to make seasons? I thought it was a bit of a wait for people who watch these live. Maybe she just got a bit older, but she did sound a bit different to me in this one. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, I really liked what they did with her, very much so. The idea of honour and losing that was great. The symbolism of the glider and the facade of the Fire Nation. More parallels there, mainly with Aang and Zuko. But all the team, pretending to be the Fire Nation, having that facade of actually being part of them. And now we have Zuko coming home in all the Fire Nation armour again, being welcomed back by his father, welcomed back by his people. Prince Zuko, the Fire Nation, once more, honour restored. But I think he kind of knows that this isn't quite where he belongs, so it's still kind of a facade for him, even now that he's back. And, if this was Zuko in episode 1, he'd have loved, having that moment, and that would have been all he desired. Season 3, episode 1, Zuko is a very different person. Some things have stayed the same with him, but a lot has changed, and even he was questioning, who am I now? How much have I changed? So he's aware of that development as well, which is nice. Because he's obviously been quite torn about it up until this point. But I think, just the idea of him belonging there is an absolute facade now. So I kind of like that kind of parallel with the Fire Nation, pretending that you belong there, that you are one of them, because Zuko's moved on from that. Little has he realised that, I don't think. And then we had, Team Avatar having to disguise himself as such. So that was really cool, nice, another little parallel there for them. So yeah, they did some great stuff for character-wise and plot-wise, and themes, thematics, etc., in this one. And yeah, fantastic start to the season. Bloody loved it, as I often do. It's very rare that there's been an episode I'm like, yeah, that's okay. But yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes for the next 20 episodes, how they wrap up this whole story. A long way off that, yeah. I don't think the, oh god, this is really coming to an end feeling is going to, start anytime soon. But yeah, we've got a lot of the key players in motion now. Actually seeing Ozai's face and everything feels like a big deal. Interesting new journey for Aang as a character as well. I can't wait to see how he moves forward from this. Same with Zuko, as always. Azula just being unapologetically Azula is always fun to see in the most frustrating of ways. And yeah, they had a lot of great symbolism in this one as well. And the stuff with Katara and her dad, I thought was done very nicely. So can't wait to see, what other characters are going to be focused on in that way throughout the season, how the story unfolds. But yeah, if we maintain what they've set up and how they kind of, hit the ground running with episode 1, book 3 is going to be quite the watch, and I can't wait. So yeah, fantastic episode, great start to the season, can't wait to see more. But that's going to be everything for now, and until my next reaction, thanks for watching.